Welcome to Quick Stop F1. My name is Nyasha and you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. We appreciate that. Today is a podcast that was supposed to come out last week, but then things broke, so I'm literally re-recording it for this week. Apologies for the delay. Nevertheless, if you're watching, like, subscribe to the channel, all of them things there. If you want an ad-free stream, we've got that on Patreon now. And this week, I'm on my own, solo. Like, what's his name? Oh my God, that's going to kill me. What is his name? Oh my God, riding solo. Jason Derulo. I was going to say Jason Momoa. Clearly, he did not pen the record 2010 hit, riding solo. Jason Derulo did. That's what I'm doing today. What we're going to do is, you guys asked me some questions on Twitter last week. Now, normally these questions would have been out of date quickly, but it's a summer break. Nothing is happening other than Toto Wolff on a yacht with... What's going on with that? Real quick. Toto Wolff and Max Verstappen on a yacht together at the moment, like consistently just chilling on a yacht, right? And I'm seeing people up in arms about this, and I'm going to say something really fucking... This might hurt if you're Team LH, yeah? This might hurt. I'm going to be honest. But you need to, like, leave that shit alone. You know, sometimes you might see your ex with someone else. Someone that they said, don't worry about, okay? Don't worry about it. I don't care about that person. No, they're just a friend, whatever. And then you see them out and about together. You know what you got to do? You just got to leave them be, bruv. You just got to let that go, bruv. You don't need that. You don't need that stress in your life. What effect does Max Verstappen on a yacht with Toto Wolff have on me as a Lewis Hamilton fan? We left that behind long ago. We're over there. We're in Italy. Fucking Parmigiano, darling. All of them things there. What's going on with them two is inconsequential. Sometimes your ex gets with a lame. That happens. And sometimes you just gotta let them be with a fucking loser. That happens. You know? I'm just saying. Don't get into it too much, right? That's neither here nor there. Either way, anyway, moving back to this week, we're going to answer some questions, right? We'll start off lighthearted. And I actually had some really good answers for this. I cannot remember the answers that I gave before for these questions. So I'm going to do this whole podcast again. But here we go. One of the first questions from at Ranch Dingus, who is a member of Pit Stop Fracco. Hello to you. Asks, if you had to remove 4 drivers from the grid, who would it be? You can either do it on ability or vibes. Okay, right, here we go. I'm going to do this based on mostly narrative, right? What 4 drivers would I get rid of to make way for any kind of new talent, essentially, right? So I'm going to go with Nico Hülkenberg. Nico's got a podium now. He's beaten that record. It's not really going to get that much better than this. Of course, we can go for like the race win, but like really and truly, he's got the podium now. We've got that great story, 19th to 3rd. You know, the 2nd or 3rd or 4th podium's not going to hit, and he's unlikely to win a race. Get him out. Fernando Alonso, number 2. Please. Enough. He's like, oh, just bless him. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, again. And then I suppose, you know, the story, when he does eventually, if he does eventually win, let's say, you know, if Aston Martin become good next year, is that something that potentially, that's another cool story? But like, I feel like Fernando Alonso has had his time in F1. And I just think I would get rid of him. But that's my personal opinion. Okay, it's just I know how you Alonso fans, you like to tussle, you like to write mean things. Just a personal opinion, okay? Someone asked me a question, I gave them an answer. Fernando Alonso, though, get him out, gone. Okay, those are two that just kind of slipped off the tongue. If I had to give it to 4 drivers, I'm gonna go with Franco Colapinto. No, actually, no. We've got to give the Yacht them a chance, bruv. Got to give them a chance. Drivers who I don't want to. Okay, let me go through the grid. Who's at Haas? Ocon. Carlos Sainz. It's not getting much better. Do you know what I mean? Like, Carlos Sainz's chance of being in a world championship car have gone. Unless, potentially, Max Verstappen moves with 2 Mercedes, which I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. And I think that's what makes the yachting even more hilarious. People are getting so caught up about, like, them on the yacht, and doesn't mean it's going to, like, it means nothing. It's just 2 rich white men on the yacht with their tings, bruv. Like, do you know what I mean? Rich people on yachts, fork found in the kitchen. I don't think that's a big fucking deal, bro. Like, respectfully. So, yeah, I'm going to go Carlos Sainz. I think his story's done, bro. Like, especially if Alex Albon dusts him this year. I just think the story's done. Respectfully. So I'm going to go Carlos Sainz. And then 4th driver that I would get rid of. Who is on the grid still? Okay, no one at that team. Oh God, it is a tough one. I'm not gonna lie to you. This is so bad. I'm gonna look at the grid again. Okay, F1 grid. Right, who's here? Right, let's have a gander. Who is here? Who's about? I feel like you guys are screaming someone at me. And right, Lance Stroll. Get this fucking Zionist out of it. Oh my God. Talk about a fork in the kitchen, guys. Lance Strulovich being found in Israel during a genocide. I don't know. Fork found in the kitchen. I don't know why you guys are surprised that the billionaire called Lance Strulovich is in Israel. Okay? What else do you get? People are like, oh my God, I'm going to unstand him. What did you expect from him? Oh my God. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying, like, come on, guys. Like, I think that's one thing that I really like. I think it's cool that people... There's one thing I do want to talk about Formula One, right? And like, maybe this is a bit off-piste, but I guess I'm just going to have a frank and open conversation about how I'm feeling about F1 at the moment. F1's not as fun as it used to be, and it's not a winning or losing thing. I've watched this sport, contrary to popular opinion, I've watched this sport since 1996. And I watched it before I made content. I watch it now. And I don't find it as fun anymore. It's harder for me to make content because it's just not fun. And I think a part of that is, I think in 2021, the racing was great. I think it was dramatic. There was a great narrative, Lewis versus Max, right? But the online kind of fan base thing was like a bit more simple. It was a lot more pure. You know, you supported your guys and like, you know, whatever you would. Oh, is that? Oh my God, I've just noticed there's something in the background in my work notepad, just in the taking up space on my barren background there. But yeah, like I don't know how to describe this, but of 2021, I think when a lot of people were coming into that space, making connections, and we had our drivers, and like it wasn't like as toxic as it is now. And what I'm looking at, what I'm finding on social media, right, is that like the parasocial nature of the relationship that people have with their drivers throughout the grid, no matter who they are, is becoming weird to me. Like it's going beyond fandom now, and like it almost feels like even like within Team LH, if sometimes I'll say something that is like Lewis critique or Lewis assessment of performance, and that is like almost taken as like a personal affront by some members of Team LH. Like every fucking driver on the grid now is almost, their fans deify them, or a section of their fans deify them, to the point where they're beyond reproach, they're beyond criticism, they're beyond like any form of like negative commentary that far surpasses what I see in football, which is the other sport that I follow religiously. And it has just made online discourse not fun. It's not funny. The memes are drying up. The jokes are drying up. It's just fucking it's like when you stumble into like Cardi B versus Nicki Minaj Twitter. I don't know if any of you man ever stumble into that area of Twitter. Stan wars. And the thing is, you have to remember that whole Stan aspect of F1 fandom, of which obviously I think we were part, we benefited well from it, of course, right? But a lot of it was like, a lot of it was kind of born out of the K-pop stan culture things, like this, the fan cams, and like just like that whole kind of culture made its way into F1, I guess, with Drive to Survive and the increase of people on F1 Twitter and so forth. And it was fun. And again, this is not linked to like results. I'll always watch F1 and I'll always enjoy the sport of F1. What I'm not enjoying as much at the moment is just from the sidelines. I don't even really participate in Twitter that much anymore. Is like the Stan wars that happen. And I just think these drivers, these 20 young, privileged men, on the most part, kind of pushed up to be things that they are fucking not in their personal lives. And then when they kind of fall short of that, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe this privileged driver done X or done Y. And, or look what this driver did, your driver did this. And it was just like, I don't know how to describe it. But it almost feels as if, and I've gone completely off piece from this question now, but it almost feels as if, like, I think we can see F1 is eating itself, right? But every time it eats itself and it starts to feel like it's going to, it's expanding and everything's getting, more expensive, more bloated, and like, the marginal gains from Drive to Survive are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Then they do something like the F1 movie and they blow it up again, and that brings in even more fans and whatever, which is great. I am someone who loves new fans in the sport. I love that. I love the blood life that it gives. I love new perspectives. I love pushing the culture of F1 forward. But F1 ticket price is ridiculous. Oscar Piastri's just announced a grandstand. Awesome. Go look at the prices. 450 quid for 2 days. What the fuck? Most of Oscar Piastri's fans are young people. We were supposed to diversify the sport and open it up to people, but now it's literally like, to go to an F1 race is the equivalent of going on an international 5-star break holiday, but you are literally just watching cars go around the track. Like, ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And it's just getting bigger and bigger, and it's this monster that is starting to be unrecognizable from a sport that I saw 2 or 3 years ago. 4 years ago now, I guess. And I just say all that to say, we just need to get back. Sometimes I feel like we need to just get back to the essence of what supporting someone is and what following this sport is. And we all follow sport for different reasons, but I don't know. There's something about F1 at the moment. This has been like a pretty directionless rant, if you can call it that. But yeah, I guess I'm just getting out my feelings of like, what do I, as a creator, what do I even want anymore? The whole thing was just to I just wanted to talk about F1. I wanted to take the piss. We take the piss out of everyone. We take the piss out of Lewis sometimes, but obviously that doesn't get blown up. We take the piss out of everyone, and which is fine. And I'm fine with back and forth. But I think the nastiness that F1 gets into, like, immediately, just nasty. Like, and I just sometimes I'm like, is the juice worth the squeeze? Already I've withdrawn a little bit from like Twitter, but then you make content and then it's just like, even then, like, I don't know, I just find the space in like a weird place at the moment where you can't just have, people just can't have discussions about the sport anymore. They can't disagree without it being like the most rude conversation, or this thing that F1 fans in general like to think like they're the smartest fucking cunts in the world. Like, they genuinely think like they are, and like they will talk to people in the most condescending way. And I cannot stand someone talking to me in a condescending way as if I'm stupid or as if I'm illiterate when I am 100% smarter than you. Don't piss me off. Huh? You little basement dweller in your mum's house. You're a loser. Why are you talking to me like a prick? Talk to me just like a human being. If you disagree with something, just talk to me like a human being. Let's have a discussion. I mean, it has to get personal each and every time. I don't know. Anyway, that was that. Let me know if you agree with that. I don't know if anything that I said just there makes sense. Say all that to say, stop putting these drivers up on pedestals which they don't deserve to be. They are fucking professional athletes, most of whom are privileged. It shouldn't be a surprise when they do stupid things because they're fucking idiots. Let's be honest. Right. Next question, I guess. Let's get into the Lewis stuff. There's a lot of Lewis questions here. I'm going to go with Mimi, at Mimi, 255241. Who says, Lewis not getting a single podium so far, crying, aren't we all? Do you think we'll get one? And if so, which track? Monza's coming up. Yeah. And I think Monza's going to be, I really think Monza's going to be like, I don't want to like say things which are bad, right? But I think Monza could be I don't want to say make or break, but I think Monza's either going to be emotionally incredible or emotionally, like, I think it could kill the fan base. Like, because I think if Charles Leclerc looks as strong at Monza as Ferrari normally do, somehow they always fucking pull it out of the bag at Monza, right? And I think if Charles Leclerc does what he has done in recent races, which is qualify ahead of Lewis, and have a stronger race, if that happens, it's a lot of Team LH going out there. It's a race that we would obviously love to win. Obviously, Lewis would love to win. I can imagine his demeanor. His demeanor's not been great out of the car. Obviously, hopefully, this summer break has been like a good reset for him, but it's not like it's not going as well as Lewis would want. For various reasons. I think we know. Well, I guess we have an idea why it's not going well, but for various reasons, it's going the way that it is. So I just think Monza could be like super important, and I hope that the Ferrari is strong and Lewis is able to fight for podium in Monza. I think that would be a really emotional weekend. I think a third place at Monza coming up would be celebrated and revered as much as Silverstone win last year. Do you know what I mean? Which is crazy, because he's won a sprint race this year and, you know, whatever. But I just think where the morale is at for driver and fan base at the moment, it's not in a great place. Let's be honest. Let's just be honest, guys. It's been a fucking shite season. Like, this season has been difficult as a Lewis Hamilton. He's not really and I'm not saying it's been shite because Lewis Hamilton as a driver is shite. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the feeling of when the move was announced, when he moved, that feeling of hope that we had, it's slowly been eroded as we've gone down into the season, I guess, from China, right? It's not been great, bar the odd, you know, cool, good performance here and there. For whatever reason, right? I think any of us really know what's, you know, I think there's theories, and I don't think there's any one reason why Lewis hasn't been able to get on top of the car, you know, bar the fact that there is a lot of change and a change of culture and, you know, and so forth. So, yeah, like I feel as if Monza could be the one. I hope it's the one. But if it's bad, wow. I don't even want to know what it's going to be like on social media for the fans there, because I think a lot's riding on it. I think a lot's riding on Monza. So let's see how that goes. But I did want to talk to, there was a question around the regulations. So I think we've all seen that the regulations are going away from ground effect. Anthony Man United at Anthony Man United says, do you think these ground effect regulations have been a success? Someone else asked, Rich, what year should we consider these regulations the Lewis stopper era? I know it's a ground effect era, but they've ground to Lewis to a halt, so some can stat pad to get close to it. Okay, let's go back in time to pre these regulations. I would say that, right. I would say the Lewis stopper regulations, if you remember, were probably the rake regulations brought in 2021. Just had the 2020 W11 Mercedes running away with fucking everything. Literally, at that point in time, the most dominant car in history would have won every race if not for Mercedes' operational blunders all over the place. I mean, you look at Monza, you look at second Bahrain race. Sorry, I can't remember what it was called. I can't remember what it's called, but essentially the race where George Russell should have won, but he didn't win. I think there was another race they should have won, but they didn't win because they just messed up. And then they bring in the rake regulations in 21 last minute, and that was essentially to benefit Red Bull, really. You know, I think that's what essentially brought the cars closer together and gave us 2021. So I guess in that sense, I would probably label those ones the Mercedes stopper, but obviously the Lewis stopper, it got to 7 world titles, bro. Like, he had won how many in a row? Like 17, 18, 19, 20. He'd won 4 in a row. So, you know, they wanted a new champion. They wanted something different. Like, you know, it really was becoming like a real domination. I'd probably label those regulations the Lewis stopper regulations. I don't think anyone, I mean, would really argue with that. I'm sure someone will. Ground effect. Have these regulations been a success? These regulations have been pretty similar in terms of what they wanted to create and what they actually created. You know, I think the turbo hybrid regulations wanted to create. They wanted to, you know, they were coming out of like the Red Bull domination, and they wanted to stop that. And you know, they changed the engines, and then, you know, one team started dominating, and then the same with this. Like, you know, Red Bull really, I mean, Ferrari were there for a bit, but Red Bull really were the only team to really have a handle on these regulations, you know, from mid 22 to like mid 24. At which point McLaren kind of started to figure it out, you know, in terms of being competitive, and we got the back end of last season, and now McLaren are pretty much, you know, a dominant team, which is, you know, I think it's quite cool that during a set of regulations, one team is basically overtaking another. I think that's good. I don't think I mean, the racing has been okay. I mean, look, I don't know what the stats are, but just from the eye test, I don't distinctly remember the racing. I think the racing's got worse this year. It distinctly feels like you cannot pass or follow at the moment. There's so many races where you're just unable to follow and pass, and I think, but if you think back to like last year, it felt like there was a significant amount of that, of like good races, good passing, close following. So I think they've worked to a degree, but I don't think the product is any better or worse in this era than, say, the problem with the turbo hybrid era, it's a very large era. We're looking at what, essentially like 8 seasons. I would probably say that I think with anything, I think there's been good points and bad points, good seasons, bad seasons, dominant seasons. I don't think the product is inherently better or worse, but I don't think it achieved what they wanted to achieve in all. And let's see what the engine regulations do. I've been on record saying I don't think these new regulations are going to create a formula that is like going to be similar to like how close IndyCar is with its racing and how close the teams are, etc. Like, it's just F1 isn't that kind of sport. So we'll see whether these new regulations suit Lewis. I don't know if they knew that Lewis would struggle with these ground effect cars. I don't know if that's the case, but the fact that they've gone back or gone away from that definitely gives some hope. Definitely gives some hope if you're a Lewis Hamilton fan that, you know, we're moving back to something like that is more familiar to him and maybe more suitable to his driving style. Yeah, Ferrari settling in, who knows? Maybe there is some improvement there, but yeah, I don't think that I don't think it's really going to make a massive difference. I think Mercedes are going to end up the same way in 2014, have the strongest engine, maybe run away with it. But how much can I get? How much is George Russell to win the title next year? 6 F1 championship. I want to bet on next year's championship. Can I do that? I cannot. As soon as this season ends, is this next year? Oh, okay, sorry. I'm just looking at all kinds of rubbish. But essentially, yeah, I think I believe that Mercedes is going to be favourite. I'm going to put a fat bet on Mercedes winning the title next year as soon as it's physically possible to get odds on next year. I'm putting everything on Mercedes constructors, George Russell winning it. Like, it's fucking written, bro. If you could show me something else, fine, but if you lot are expecting anything other than that, given everything that's coming out from the sport right now, then let me know. But I don't have faith in Ferrari to create an engine that's as good as Mercedes. End of discussion. Like, and we go from there, basically. So that was my Lewis Ferrari chat. But also, yeah, like, the setback. Yeah. I think sometimes as well, going back to fandom, actually, this is like another thing that I just want to like imprint on people. And it might feel like I'm like, I don't know what the tone of this podcast is at the moment. I don't know how this feels listening to it, wherever you're at. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Like, subscribe, all of them things there. Well, it's me off. But what I do want to say is this, yeah? Sometimes your team loses. Sometimes your team is shit. I have supported Arsenal Football Club since I was 5 years old. Do you want to know how many times we've won the league in that fucking period? 3 times. In 30 years. 3 times. I don't know. Do you want to know the last time Arsenal won the league? No. I can't even say it like that. And 4. I was fucking 16. I was actually 15. I'm 36 now. I'm going to be 30. No, wait, how old am I? Yes, I'm going to be 37 in 2 weeks' time. I don't think you don't understand. 22 years. I have fucking stuck by this team. I think some of you, respectfully, this might be the first sport that you really got into. And sometimes you join the gravy train when the gravy's run out. Some of you might have started watching this sport in 2020. Some of you might have started watching in 21, 22. And you've got, I'm going to choose Lewis Hamilton. That's what you've decided. And it's been awful. I've got something to say to you. Tough luck. Tough shit, bro. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I actually don't know. Like, there is nothing you can do about it other than support. That's what being a supporter is about. You get up, you get behind your driver, you put aside all the other shit, and you just say, you know what, I'm going to support this guy. Some of you are struggling with that because you don't like losing. You don't like being bantered on social media. You take the opinion of rival fans seriously. I'm here to say to you, what rivals say about your driver should not affect you at all. If you're in it to be able to lord over others, your success, then you're in sport for the wrong reason. I'm sorry. Sport is suffering. Like, sport is 90% suffering, 5% fleeting joy. You've got to learn to find the joy in something other than winning. Let me tell you right now, the fucking crash out some Verstappen fans are going to have, the same way some Lewis fans are having, when you're seeing it now. The car is shit. He can't Fred Flintstone it. For some reason, he's not dragging a car that's supposed to be last into first anymore. What happened there? Some of the fans are getting weird again. Some of the fans are getting, like, antsy. They're pushing for him to move to Mercedes. Why? Because the car matters. Would you believe it? I'm just saying, guys, you've got to learn to find the joy. Do you like the sport? Do you like the person? It doesn't matter. But you've got to learn to find the joy from something within this sport. Otherwise, you will be depressed. And a sport should not make you depressed. It will, fleetingly. Trust me, I've cried about Arsenal. I've sulked about Arsenal. I've sulked about Lewis Hamilton. I get that. But your whole fucking existence cannot be dependent on whether your driver is winning or not. It can't. Because there are 20 drivers. There's one good car out there right now that's capable of winning. There's 2, 3 that are capable of getting podiums. Like, bro, I don't know, man. I don't know what to say to some of you. Like, because some of you are actually depressing me. I'm trying to make content. I'm trying to be happy. And some of you are just coming in depressed as fuck. I can't pour from an empty glass, guys. We need to uplift each other. We need to be each other's happiness. And we can't even be each other's happiness. You've got infighting within Team LH. The fuck? Guys, I'm telling you right now, you've got to learn to find the joy in the sport. Otherwise, it will fucking kill you, bro. This is a brutal sport. The finest of margins between victory and defeat, between successful and not successful. You got to find some joy in it, bro. Otherwise, I swear to God, some of you are like hurtling towards poor mental health because of this fucking tin pot sport, bro. I'm telling you now, don't do it. It's not worth it. And if you can't find joy within this sport, I'm sorry, go touch grass. There's a whole world out there. There's a whole world out there, bro. Shiny, lovely things. There is joy outside. Light outside. Fun outside. Much more fun than sitting on the internet arguing with people about 20 of the most privileged drivers you will ever see in your life. There's more to life than F1, guys. I promise you. I promise you. There's so much more to life than F1. But once we're back, trust me, we're back! We'll be back. And everything we felt in this period, if you're a Lewis Hamilton fan, will feel so much more heightened than when you're fed it every week. Arsene Wenger famously said, when you're eating caviar every day, it's hard to go to sausages. We've had a lot of fucking sausages. A lot of sausages. Not even like good sausages. You know them fucking, the cheap, own brand pink sausages with pure gristle inside it. Boiled. Not grilled, not fried, not baked, boiled. Frankfurters, out the jar, glizzies. I know some of you man love that shit. No toppings, no mustard, no ketchup, no chili sauce. None of that. The worst. I'm telling you now. That's all we've had for years. But let me tell you, shoving all that shit down your throat and then finally getting to taste the sweet, sweet nectar of victory. Oh my God. How good did Silverstone feel last year? Like, take yourself back. How good did Silverstone feel last year? We were crying. Crying. You don't get that feeling without the shit. No one was crying when Lewis Hamilton was on a run of winning Silverstone every year. It was great. It was awesome. People weren't crying. If that first Ferrari win is gonna hit like fucking crack. Huh? So, strap in. Are you a bad boy or are you a bad boy? You know? Are you tough? What are you made of? Are you going to sit on social media crying all day, or are you going to get behind your boy? Are you going to fucking stand front line? Are you going to be there through the bad days? And then, are you going to reap the benefits of being there in the good days or not? Up to you, mate. Right. Next question. Next question. There was a question here. Sorry. I should have had these. Before. Do you think Oscar Piastri can win the championship this year? That chilled babe. Yes, I think he could. I think there's a difference between can and will. He definitely can. Let's look at these odds. I think Oscar Piastri must be favourite for the title right now. So Oscar Piastri is currently favourite, pardon me, at 6 to... Oh, wait, no. Oh, my God, sorry. Oh, my God. You can get first driver retirement on these things. I love it. Right. So, driver championship winner, yeah. 8 to 13. Oscar Piastri, favourite 7 to 5. Is Lando Norris, so quite close within that. It's just it's interesting. Like with Oscar Piastri, I think if you look at how the season's gone so far, middle of the season, I think you would expect Oscar Piastri to win the title. But how do I put this? If Lando doesn't sort out his qualifying, he's never going to win the title. I think on race pace, they're pretty much equal. Lando Norris's qualifying is not strong enough. And unfortunately, in this era where you're in the same car, strategy when the car is so quick and there's not that many people in between, strategy doesn't really play as big a part. Obviously, we've seen it with, like, the one stop. I think, the one stop. I say that, but then, was it the last race? Was it Belgium? Where where it seemed to have benefited. But yeah, I just think you can't have races like that every week. That's not going to work every week. And in a straight fight, if you don't qualify in front in this era where it's purely like, the clean air is king, as once said by the great Oscar Piastri in Azerbaijan. I just think I can't see a situation where Lando Norris consistently qualifies ahead of Oscar Piastri. I just can't. And if that's the case, then I think Oscar Piastri will have enough. And I think he will win it. I think he will. And yeah, like, what more can you say about that, to be honest? And I think someone else asked about the title, and they said about the title, about it basically being watered down. I think it was Anthony Man United again. Do you think the season championship battle lacks any bite or anything controversial? And I think it has, but as much as we want McLaren to not manage this to within an inch of their lives, I think the fact that it is being managed so well means that we're not going to get. Basically, what we want is for these guys to crash into each other, to fall out with each other, for there to be biting in media, and we want them to be clowns for our entertainment. And that doesn't benefit McLaren at all. I saw, stories of Zach Brown essentially saying he's going to take advice, or he's going to ask the drivers how they want to celebrate, how they would want the championship to be celebrated if they're the loser, right? So, and I think that's it. These two could be their drivers in a quick car for years to come. You don't want over a winter break someone lingering in resentment and anger because the team essentially buoyed them off in celebration. Look, some of that management would have been glorious when, after 2021, Lewis Hamilton being consoled by his dad, an hour later, Toto Wolff is fucking crowd surfing. They're jumping into the marina at Abu Dhabi. Do you think that was good management? Do you think that Lewis enjoyed watching them do that over the Constructors' Championship? I'm not saying they shouldn't have celebrated, but how do you think Lewis felt? And I'm just saying, trying to mitigate super wild scenes of celebration for one particular person to slight another, I think that's good management. But it is sanitizing this championship battle to within an inch of its life, which means, and then the racing is not that great on top of that. We're not getting much wheel to wheel between these two drivers. So it just looks like we're counting down the races really until we get to Abu Dhabi. And I think someone asked when I think this championship battle will be. At what race do you think the World Drivers' Title will be? World Drivers' Championship will be decided? Abu Dhabi earlier. That is from Mateusz Zemret. I think it will be decided. I think it will go down to the wire, but I don't think it will be. I think it will go down to the wire, but I think there'll be a bigger gap than the gap between first and second. Was that 7 points? So I think Oscar Piastri will go in knowing that top two will be okay. I don't think we're going to get a shootout in the style of 2021. But I do think it will go down to the wire. So let's see. But yeah. I don't know how to view this season. It felt like this season could have been a lot better, but unfortunately, last season we had multiple race winners, multiple race winners, right? A lot of drivers who had won more than two races, and we don't have that this season. And like development's probably going to get shut off on some of these cars from this point onwards. So the order that we've got, I can't really see it changing until next year, basically. So let's see how it goes. But yeah, interesting times for sure. Well, look, I think everyone's had enough of my voice. My voice has had enough of my voice. So I'm gonna go. I don't know how that podcast. I don't know. Sometimes I come away from like, I don't know if that's a good podcast or not. I might listen back and see if I want to put it up or not. But thank you guys for listening. Thanks for putting up with us. Thanks to all the people who hate watch. A lot of you guys. A lot of you guys hate watch. Thank you to the guys who agree with us, who disagree with us. Love you all. Remember, keep it on the black stuff. Until next time, take care of yourself. Toodles!